Are you gonna watch Super Bowl?
That's tomorrow, right?
I don't care about the game. I want to see the halftime show.
I don't care about the game except there are brothers against each other. Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
And they are cute.
Travis Kelce.
Is Travis the one with the beard?
I think they both have beard.
But there's one that's more berry looking.
I don't know.
See. How do you spell their last names again?
Kel.
Yes, it's Travis, the one that's like a little bear. Yeah. No, I lied. Travis is not. It's Jason. That's right.
Travis has like the like haircut, like the nice like. I feel like his brother. This sounds terrible. I feel like his brother doesn't look as put together as Travis. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they're both good looking, but I gravitate more towards Travis, even though he kind of has like a fuckboy haircut.
If you want Travis, then you can have Travis, and so that works out for us very well.
We're good.
Look at us. They should put us in like the UN or something.
Compromise.
We compromise well. Welcome to Meet Cute, a podcast where friends Jenn
and Priscilla Wilson
get together to discuss all things rom-coms, from the classics to the latest releases. We'll be diving deep into the world of romantic comedies. Also, in regards, I don't know if this is a good segue, but in regards to where we're watching the Super Bowl, your place or mine? Look at me. I'm like so segue. So we're talking about a brand new movie.
Yep, just came out yesterday.
And as of the recording.
As of the recording, we are recording on February 11th. Yesterday, February 10th, Netflix dropped a new rom-com called Your Place or Mine with Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon. They play friends of 20 years. One lives in New York, one lives in LA. They do kind of like a holiday type scenario, like, you know how they house swap in the holiday? It's kind of like that. He goes to take care of her kid and she goes to New York. She's enrolled in some accounting program, and they kind of come to some realizations, find out little facts about each other that they never knew before. They were under the impression that they told each other everything, and turns out that is not quite accurate. Did I do a good enough job of summarizing?
Yes. I think you did a really great job of summarizing the whole movie.
Cool.
That's it.
That was on the fly. I was like, oh shit. I had a deer in headlights moment.
No, that's it. We did it. All right. Have a good day.
I'll be honest. I didn't write a lot of notes for the movie.
I felt the same way.
I wrote some comments, but I didn't write very much. Kind of like Shotgun Wedding, where I didn't really write too much either.
We started this movie, and I thought to myself, I said, oh, this movie might be the one that redeems all these new rom-coms, or most of these new rom-coms that are coming out that are like cast heavy-ish. I thought this movie might redeem it. So without obviously jumping too much ahead, I was like, oh, okay. I kind of was hoping that, but I didn't feel. Spoiler alert.
No, I wasn't exactly thinking the same as you in terms of like the expectations, but yeah, it was, you know, it was whatever to me. Yeah, nothing. To like, you know, jump the gun and be so early about it, but there was nothing remarkable or anything that like stood out about it. It was just whatever. So Debbie, Reese
Mm-hmm.
Witherspoon's character, Debbie and Peter, Ashton Kutcher, they actually, the movie opens back in 2003,
Yes.
2003,
Mhm.
which I thought it was kind of funny. Like,
Me
this
too.
this is in 2003. You want to know how we know? And they're pointing out all these things, which I felt attacked a little bit, like, because like there were certain things where I'm like, I was guilty of
Yeah.
some of these things.
All the shirts,
Yeah,
definitely.
the layering part made me laugh because I was like, oh no.
Yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, so it takes place when they first meet in 2003. They are at a they're at a poker game that I think Reese Witherspoon's character, Debbie, is hosting. And she and Ashton, I keep saying their names and not their character names. So the movie opens in 2003. They're at Debbie's house. She's hosting a poker game with some friends. I'm assuming this is the first night that they meet. She
This
and
is the meet
Peter.
cute.
Yeah, I don't know if he is someone that like a friend brought or what have you, but they're at
Mm-hmm.
her house for a poker game. People are leaving and they're making out hardcore on her couch. And obviously, one thing leads to another. They go to her bedroom. There's a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Like, he just keeps talking. I felt like Debbie, where she was like, oh my God, stop talking. It was
Mm-hmm.
very awkward. It was just
Mm-hmm.
an awkward scene. And so that's how they meet. They end up having kind of like a one night stand that turns into like this 20-year best friendship. And it was weird. That scene made me uncomfortable. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he was just talking a lot, or maybe because I didn't feel like there was much chemistry between them. Like, they didn't, like, it just, it felt weird to have
Yeah.
them paired together.
I have to agree because I think that was the one thing I was missing in the movie. I think obviously love them both as actors, but there wasn't anything there. So when you think about it, this is, and this movie I guess has other layers, but this is a rom-com and this is their meet cute. And it was just, which I guess could be argued that's real life. Sometimes the meet cute is just there. But I just wasn't buying it that they fell in love that night.
No.
Because that's how they spin it in the movie.
Hmm.
That was the moment they both knew, but I didn't buy it. So don't sell that to me. You're ripping me off.
Yeah, the movie kind of goes from that opening part, and then all of a sudden it's 20 years later, and she calls him to wish him a happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
um Even their
And
conversation is like, it feels very forced.
I agree. And I think one of the reasons that felt that way to me too is I don't, I mean, I have not had yet a 20-year-old friend, that our friendship is 20 years old. But it just felt so like, why are you talking while you both are in bed on the morning of your birthday, while your significant other at the time is literally laying
He
and you're just on speaker talking
Yeah,
to
yeah,
your
yeah.
friend? Doesn't matter the sex. I just feel like it's although that part was cute, it was in theory it was a cute part. It was a cute had they both been single. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm going around it, but just it I agree it did not feel right and I can't put my finger as to why it didn't feel right, but I wanted it to feel right.
Now I'm thinking about, like, have you seen on like Instagram and stuff, social media, they are talking about Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon at like the premiere of this movie, and like
Mm.
them taking pictures on the red carpet, and they just look like really awkward and they look like they don't like each other. I
Mm.
feel like that was the vibe in the entire movie. Not necessarily that they didn't like each other, and not to, I guess not to spoil it or whatever, but like they're not really in any scenes together in
No.
person. The entire movie up until like the end part is them just kind of FaceTiming each other. It, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't believe that they were like so in love with each other. I didn't even believe that they were friends for 20 years.
Yeah. That's it. That's it right there. There was, in theory, everything that was happening in the movie, it's like very cute. I can see it between them two, but I could not see it between them two because there was something off there. And I think you're trying to portray that there is this chemistry, even though they are like across the country because they fell in love that one time. No, I don't see it. And then
Yeah,
you put them far away thinking that
right.
we did see it, and it's got lost even further.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I apologize for my dog in
No,
the background. Like
Miss Karen's
she
active
knows I'm
today.
recording and
Hmm.
talking, so she's like, I'm gonna make an appearance.
Yeah, she's active today. She's here.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Charlie's literally about to fall off the top thing of the couch, passed out. Um,
Um,
I did love the on the phone thing again. Not with them, not with this.
oh, you just like the concept of them being
Yeah, the back
on
and
the
forward.
phone. Okay,
Hmm.
I got you.
I like that. I would have loved to seen it maybe with different people. I got really put off when the girlfriend popped up on this. I was like, oh.
I I I mean, I didn't really have much of an opinion because I kind of figured that he was going to be that kind of guy.
Mm,
He has this best friend that he's known forever. I just kind of got the sense that it was going to be a cliche. He's a womanizer. He can't have a relationship longer than 6 months. He's a
yeah.
commitment phobe, like just a cliche thing that you've seen time and time
Hmm.
again in rom-coms. I Something I did write down towards the beginning of the movie, because she calls him to say happy birthday. They're going back and forth talking to each other. She says she has a present for him and pulls out a poker chip from
Hmm.
the night that they met, and he apparently, his character just doesn't believe in keeping any kind of mementos
Hmm.
from significant moments of his life. And she kind of makes a joke like, I kept this in the event that we got married and whatever. And she's like, I realize now it was like a dumb thought. And he was like, no, it wasn't dumb. So you can already tell that he like harbors something for her.
Hmm.
um but the whole like phone call, and then the girlfriend, I guess, or coworker, I think she works with him too, um
I see.
them talking to each other, and her making a comment about Debbie, like, oh, that's the Debbie, the one that you always talk about, and blah blah blah. It kind of brought up the when Harry met Sally question about if
Mm,
men and women can just be friends. The only thing is the sex part came before their friendship in this case,
mhm,
in this
mhm,
movie. And so the girl that's involved with him currently, she's like asking him, why aren't you guys together? She's with him and she's asking him,
mhm,
why aren't you guys together? Do you like her? Do you enjoy your time with her? Like, what's the deal? And while that, I guess that reasoning makes sense, it also made me kind of annoyed. Like, I don't really like when people see a man and a woman that have like a good friendship and they get along together, immediately they want them to just be together.
mhm.
um do you think people do that because single people make them uncomfortable? Like, why can't people just be friends and leave it at that? Like, just because two people have a good friendship doesn't mean it's going to automatically translate into a successful romantic relationship. I don't know if you feel
Mhm.
the same way. Like, it it kind of annoys me that like just because people get along and have fun together doesn't mean that there's anything else behind it. In general. Obviously, in this case, it's something different. But in general, what do you think of that?
I definitely think it comes down. So, in her case, and for saying that, her motive just could have been pure jealousy. And she thought, I'll just say this a reaction. I'm looking for a reaction so that it can tell me what's happening. So, depending on the motive, it bothers me. In her case, it bothers me because if that is her motive, which will be that it was like trying to get a reaction from him, yeah, it bothers me because say with your chest. Ask what you need to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Don't assume that we'll be great together. Like, why are you saying that, right? Is it because you're threatened by this friendship? I probably took you over the scenic route, but that's how I feel about that. When you post that question, it's like, well, what's the motive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you know what? I didn't get the sense that the girl was threatened. I think it was a genuine question because she didn't look angry. She looked more angry at the fact when they leave the apartment, she kind of confronts him point blank on like, what are we, where are we going kind of thing. She gets mad at his response because she was like, I don't like wasting my time. Am I wasting my time? And he said, define waste. And she got pissed, which I would too. She didn't seem mad about the Debbie thing. I think she was just making an observation.
Yeah, I don't think she was mad. It was more of a like her motive behind it to me felt very like why do you care if you didn't care, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but yeah, when he said define waste, I knew I knew that girl better have some dignity and walk away.
Yeah. So yeah, it just kind of, that whole exchange just kind of affirms that he's like this big commitment phobe,
Yeah.
gets involved with women, doesn't really get to a place where there's any kind of future or they're really even knowing each other. Like, I think she even makes a comment like, we've been doing this for a few months now and it doesn't feel like we're getting any closer.
Yeah.
It kind of, the movie makes it obvious that like clearly Debbie plays a role in why he doesn't
In
get
his life.
closer to women.
Yeah. And he seemed to have no problem with it because she takes the Uber that he ordered to go to work, and he's off walking his. So he did not seem bothered at all that she just ended it right then and there and took his car.
Yeah, I mean, even his job is no commitment to things.
Yes.
He's a consultant, and after he's done his consulting, he goes to another client, and this particular client he's working for, they tried to like bring him on board full time, and he's like, no, it's whatever. And so that just filters down into his whole life.
Yeah.
Him being just really commitment shy.
Yeah. That was a funny scene. The way they portrayed
The
side
guys.
of the company. Yeah. And how badly they wanted to be with him. And then how funny they just like made. I thought it was really, it seemed like a breakup where the girl is really like, or, the other person is, well, why? We can make this work. And the other person's like, no, we can't. We'll never.
Yeah.
I like that scene. I don't remember what came after that.
I know. I'm trying to think of what came after.
I know we see Debbie taking Jack to school. And I think correct me if I might have missed this, but Debbie works at the school. She made it seem like.
Yeah, I think she does work at the school, but she's not a teacher. I forget what she's supposed to be. But yeah, she's kind of obsessed with her kid. Her kid's allergic to everything. I like her friend, Alicia.
Yeah.
Her friend is funny. Always has a coffee in her hand. Like every time you see her, she's got a coffee in her hand.
I might be jumping ahead, but I would have loved to see more of like Alicia in the flashback that we got at the beginning. Like if Alicia was the way they made Alicia seem in the movie was that Alicia had known them both for as long, just as long.
Yeah, yeah. When she's talking to Peter a little bit further into the movie, she's talking about the night that they met as if she was there, but I don't remember seeing her in that opening scene.
I don't
Was that
either.
supposed to be her? The woman that leaves in the beginning?
Maybe now I wonder. I might have to rewatch that scene because if it was supposed to be her, I would have liked them to make it more. I would have liked it to be more obvious that it was maybe like Alicia, or
Yeah.
by Alicia or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was the only thing. I really liked the sidekick, but and Minka, loved
Minka
Minka.
was Minka was funny. I like her
Minka
too.
was really funny. She,
Um
if anything, and again, not to jump too far ahead, but I feel like Minka carried a lot of this.
yeah,
But
between her and Alicia, they were definitely like the funny,
yeah,
they were the more like comedic parts.
yeah,
But yeah, they were definitely carrying that movie.
they were. I don't remember how we get here. Oh well, I do remember. Sorry, we get so she drops off her kid, and then she has this accounting class in New York that she is going to take, but her sitter cancels last minute.
Yeah, her sitter auditions for a part in like a movie or something like that and ends up getting
Mm-hmm.
the part and then has to leave to go shoot on location that night. And
Mm-hmm.
so Debbie shoots Peter a text. She says, I can't come because
Mm-hmm.
she was going to stay with him for the week while she was going to class and they were going to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, my sitter bailed. I can't come. He ends up buying a ticket to
Mm-hmm.
fly out there to watch her kid for her while she goes and does what she has to do, which was very nice.
That was very
Um,
sweet.
it was a sweet move. Um, and that seemed to be that. Like he made a decision right away,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and like they don't even here's the thing. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he comes to fly out to watch her son. He comes home to like a bazillion post-it notes all
Mm-hmm.
over the place. Like they couldn't even have them like see each other real quick before she went to the airport or something. I don't know. The whole movie was just weird. Like
Yeah.
Sleepless in Seattle did not have Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks interact with each other at all, but the way they did it was so good. And I know it was different because they didn't even know each other, but this was like, it was frustrating. Like every scene just fell flat.
I agree. I'm glad you said something about Sleepless in Seattle because I think when I was just maybe it was on the Wikipedia page or something, I just glanced at this that I guess it tried to be compared to Sleepless in Seattle or somebody I guess
Mm-mm.
threw it out there and no. Meg and Tom's characters don't know each other Sleepless in Seattle, yet you still feel that they are meant to be together. This one, no, I didn't feel it. I will say I love the post-it note because outside of this movie, I think they're so cute to like leave a bunch of post-it notes with like um directions.
Mm-hmm.
But in the context of this movie, I was like, okay, really? I don't know. I guess it was that whole helicopter mom thing, but
Ugh.
I didn't love it.
Even Karen doesn't want to talk about this movie. Like,
Yeah. No, I didn't love that. Then, she gets on the phone with him and she's literally just like like just talking at him about everything that he should be doing. I think if I remember correctly, there is a part where he tells her to stop and to take a breath and to look
mm-mm,
around. I like that. I thought that was a cute moment, but that was it.
mm-mm.
Stuff. Then I don't know if you have anything else to say about that part, but I know we can fast forward a little bit to that bar moment with Minka if you want. But
Well, Well, she meets Minka
Mm-hmm.
on like her first night that she gets there. There's a knock on the door. She's trying to figure out how to like work his apartment, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And she opens the door, and Minka's like wearing this oversized hoodie thing. And she's not wearing anything underneath, thinking, he was
She's
there.
gonna get lucky.
Yeah, it was very a bold move on her part. Um, and then they end up talking. Minka finds out this is Debbie, and of course, she's heard all about her.
Mm-hmm.
And she just kind of hangs out with her. She sits down, they start talking. She invites her out, and I didn't trust her. You know how long I didn't trust her for? I kept thinking there was like this ulterior motive to her
Really?
wanting to be friend. Yeah, because I figured she came to the apartment to get with Peter. He's not there. This Debbie person is there who she's heard of, and they've been friends for 20 years. So I thought initially she was just trying to get close to her, to get close to Peter. Even after they hung out a couple times in the movie, Debbie and Minka, I was like, I still don't trust this girl. and then a little bit further in the movie, I even wrote down, I guess she's legit.
Took a while for Minka to make it through, huh?
Yeah, because I don't know, like I didn't completely trust that she was like being genuine and offering a hand of friendship to this girl that she just met.
Yeah.
Because girls
I
aren't
didn't
really like that.
I didn't have that thought about Minka actually, but now that you say that's kind of funny. I She just gave me like chaotic contained energy. So I was like, okay, you have it under control, but this girl's just all over the place. So I was just feeling that way about Minka, like, okay, what next?
Yeah. She's like an influencer type of personality. Like
Mm-hmm,
she's
mm-hmm.
famous, but she doesn't really do anything.
Like a socialite kind of thing.
Yeah, mhm.
Well, she
So,
convinces her to go out to get a drink.
yeah. Mhm.
And this part was funny. I actually laughed at this out loud. When they hand Debbie her drink and she says, am I supposed to drink her or water it? Because it was just elaborately with all these.
It looked like a plant. She even says,
Yeah.
let me grab my plant."
Yeah. And I thought that was so funny and relatable. So I really liked that line. That should tell you out of this whole movie, like there was very little that was just captivating.
Yeah. And like her Debbie's reaction to a lot of stuff, it was cute for the most part. Like her reaction to the drinks and just like, being in school. Her being in school was giving off like Elwood's Legally Blonde vibe, like taking out her little notepad. It's very reminiscent of that. But actually I did kind of giggle at when they pick up their drinks to walk over to the one professor
Hmm.
that she ends up listening to his like literature class. He's sitting with some guy that she recognizes as like the owner of this like indie publishing company. She's a big book reader. So she
Hmm.
knew who he was. So they go over because Minka's like, let's go. You have an in. You know this professor. He's seen you. Like, go ahead and talk to this other guy because the publisher was like smoking hot. Um, and the professor recognizes her and he says, I never forget a denim skirt, and makes like a face. That made me laugh because she really loves her denim. She's running around in denim everywhere.
Yeah. I forgot about that part because the moment they first showed her walking with her denim skirt, I was like, oh, a denim skirt. Cool.
She
I
looked
haven't seen
cute
one
in
of those.
it. Yeah, like she
Yeah, I
looked
haven't seen
cute
one of
in
those in a
it.
while.
Mhm.
I think it's because I I'll be honest with you, I have not seen those in a while because I run away from them like a plague because I used to wear them so much.
You know, the longer cut denim skirts, they're
Hmm.
starting to like become trendy.
And that is one trend I
And
will not
yeah,
subscribe
I
to.
can't get on board with it. Reese Witherspoon looked cute
She did.
wearing that little outfit, but I would not wear it.
No, she did. She was giving off very Gen X vibes with
Mhm.
her skirt, and it was cute. Just, it's a no for
Yeah.
Well, she meets this gorgeous man at the
Mhm.
bar right next to her professor. And I don't remember if it was right here, but the question of is he being nice or is he into her was kind of posed. But I don't remember if it was right at the bar or if it was later.
Oh, because they talk about books,
Mhm.
mainly the books that his company has published, and they go back and forth, and he's just kind of looking at her impressed and also kind of surprised that she knows as much as she does.
Mhm.
Um and then when they're leaving, he asks for her number. And even like just the way he's looking at her very intensely. She still thinks, "Oh, he's being nice. He's not into me." And Minka's like, "No, it's obvious that he likes you." So, yeah, I think it's when they're walking away that they kind of make no, make a comment about, "Oh, he's just being nice."
In her defense, though, Priscilla, and you tell me what you think, I feel like I would still think he was being nice at that moment. I'm so oblivious to know if somebody's hitting on me that if I would put myself in that same position with everything that we just had in common and the little geek out, I would think he's just still being nice. Because I'm thinking we're just being nice to each
Wait, when she meets him for the first time, had she read Peter's manuscript
other.
that she finds at that point? No, right?
No, no, because that was the first, she met him her first night there. And she found the manuscript after talking to me
Mhm.
in the house. So I'm gonna say no.
Okay. So, um, if a guy asks for my number, I assume that he likes me. Cuz I feel like I mean I mean me as a woman, I wouldn't ask for a guy's number if I wasn't interested in him at all. You know what I mean? Like unless there
Really?
were if I wasn't interested in him, I'm not going to be nice and be like, "Give me your number." Like, no, I'm not about to waste anybody's time unless I had a reason to ask for it. Like if I'm not interested in a guy romantically,
Hmm.
there's got to be another reason for me to want your number. Like you said you would help me like do something, or we're in the same, like, I don't know, baseball league or something. There's something that ties us together outside of a romantic thing, and that's why I have your number. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. Actually I like this conversation a lot. That makes sense. I don't know why. I don't think of it as that because usually if I'm having a conversation, like we're talking about something, then it's like I would assume we're exchanging numbers because of this conversation. Which I guess, yeah, that could be it. But then I don't know. I don't think it's because they're interested.
I guess it depends on what you're talking about. So, like, and also, I guess maybe it depends on the setting. If we went to one of these events that happen in Tulsa where it's like a networking event and
Mm-hmm.
you have a conversation with a guy and you're talking about a bunch of things, but you're also talking about, like, oh, what do you do? Like, oh, I do this. Oh, really? I was always interested in doing that, but I could never get my foot in the door. Like if that's how the conversation's going, but then you're also talking about personal things. If we exchange numbers, I'm not going to assume that the guy likes me because we were just talking business. I assume that we're networking.
Mm-hmm.
If you and I are at a bar together and we bump into these cute guys and we're talking and we're all hanging out, we're all having drinks, having a good time, and then we're about to leave and the guy asks me or you for your number, I'm assuming the guy isn't interested in one of us. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I think it depends on the setting, depends
On the
on
setting.
the conversation.
Okay, I'm going to paint you a scenario. We are at a bar. We are having a great time, fun time. Um, there is a little bit of business talk, but there's also a little bit of personal talk. Like it's just chilling or whatever. And there's even like you have a drink together, you do shots together, like rarely fun. They get your number, but they don't call.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, I didn't expect them to call because they wanted to see me. I expected them to call because I thought we had a really good time as friends.
Mm.
So I guess that's why, I like this conversation because yes, I think a lot of people think that way. Like if you get to the number exchange, that means there's interest.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I've gone to the number exchange and I'm more of a, oh my gosh, I think we can be friends. So
Well, maybe you're just playing it smarter than me. Like maybe it's really conceited of me to think that if a guy is asking me for my number, that he's interested in me. Maybe I
let me
shouldn't be presumptuous like that.
let me point out again. I gave this guy my number thinking I think he also thinks we could be good friends. I never heard from him. So, I don't know who's right and who's wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the different perspective of it.
Yeah. Ultimately, we don't know unless the guy actually says or does something after the exchange of numbers. And not
Yeah.
saying that everything falls on the guy's shoulder. You know, we can make a move too, but if he's
Right.
doing the asking, I assume he wants to follow up with something.
Yeah.
Whether he's interested romantically or not. I would think that he would be the one to facilitate the
Yeah.
next meetup.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't have his number. So, yeah, the ball was,
Right.
they were
It's
all up in
only
his
in his
court.
court.
Yeah. I mean,
I
when I
literally
tell
can't
you,
find you.
when I tell you this man owned the rec center, there's no other way in for me, which is fine. Again, and funny enough, again, I think he was really cute, but it was more of a, I think you're really cool. I would really like to get to know you as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But no, maybe I'm too flirty. Ah, dang it. That's my
It's that
curse. I'm too
Libra.
flirty.
It's that Libra in you.
Oh, gosh. But I just thought, yeah, I like that part because up until that moment, I would have really thought it was a.
It keeps going back and forth. You see what's going on in Debbie's life with her
Mhm.
staying in New York, going out with Minka, meeting the oh my god, I forget his name, the publisher guy. And then it kind of pans over to Peter and his experience with her son. He's kind of taken it upon himself to just decide what's best for her son.
Mhm.
And while I do agree she's overbearing, like she won't let her son try out for hockey. Not even because like I thought with all his allergies and stuff, I thought the reasoning was going to be something like, oh, it's going to trigger his asthma or like something to do with like a condition. But no, it was more she didn't want him to try out because he's smaller than the other boys and it's more dangerous for him. Which I mean, I guess, I get if I had a son, I wouldn't want to let him go out for football. Football scares
Yeah.
me. But yeah, like, so Peter's just like, you're gonna watch a scary movie and we're gonna eat on the couch. Things that like are innocent enough, but this kid has like lived by these crazy rules set by his mother. And they're gonna order pizza or Mexican food and, screw homework. What's homework? Like,
Mhm.
and basically trying to buy friendship. Like,
Yeah.
the kid is having, I guess, bullying. I don't know. Are they bullying him? They're just
I
not talking
thought,
to him.
yeah, I thought it was more of his really good friend joins the hockey team and then makes a new friend that they have the hockey in common, so he spends
Mm-hmm.
more time with. And he's
Yeah.
sort of feeling a little left out because he's not participating in the thing that his friends get dated, sort of.
Yeah. But whenever they see him, they look at him like, that's why I was like, are they bullying
I
him?
thought that
Because
at the
like,
beginning.
yeah, because
Yeah,
they look at him and they're just like shaking their head at him, and it's like, fuck you. Like, my mom won't let me do this. I'm like, how old is he? I was gonna
I
say
think he's
8, but
14.
I think I'm thinking of Jonah from
Yeah,
Sleepless in Sea. But either
who had
way,
who had a lot more personality than
this kid,
Jack.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, Jack was like 14. Yeah,
um,
use your words, buddy. Sorry.
um, and so Peter's kind of letting him do all these things, tries to buy these kids friendship by taking them all out to an LA Kings hockey game. They get like this bougie suite with all these snacks. They got freaking jerseys and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And just, he went a little over the top for these kids who aren't even paying attention to Jack. I would
Mm-mm.
have kicked those kids out of the suite. Be like, you're not participating. Call your mom.
That scene was so cringy, Priscilla. I was so bothered. Yeah, kick him out. The least you could have done is
Can you tell I'm
be
not a mom?
gracious. But it's like, be gracious to your host, and that was, they couldn't even talk to Jack for a good 2
I
seconds.
know I felt bad because he's trying to like get in the conversation and trying to, I think he even like, what they were talking about the snacks, and he's like, oh, that's my
Hmm.
favorite. And they're totally ignoring him, which like,
Hmm.
yo, this kid invited you to come out here, not the other way around. How are you going to like totally
Hmm.
phase out your host?
Yeah,
Um,
I think that scene would have made more sense to me if you would have shown them be all over Jack, and then back at school act like they didn't know him again.
yeah.
That would have made more sense.
Yeah. Also, not for nothing, not to like completely bounce around in the movie, but with Peter just kind of like encouraging Jack to like go after what he wants, and what he wants is to play hockey, right? And so
Hmm.
he kind of brings him to tryouts a little bit later in the movie, and eventually Jack makes the team, right? And these kids, these two boys who he has had so much trouble with, all of a sudden they're like on his dick because he's on the team now. I know Jack just like wanted acceptance, and especially with the one kid that he was like really close with, he probably just wanted his friend back.
Sure.
And I know when you're little, you don't have like the same kind of,
Concept of friendship
yeah, like
almost.
you don't see things the same as when you're older. So like me looking at that, I'd be like, man, he should totally ice them out. Like, okay, we're teammates
Mhm.
and we're working together, but like, no, you showed me who you are, type of thing. I think I'm getting really deep into it, but like
No.
that kind of stuff really irritates me. Like, I just want to, like, if I had a kid and that was happening, and then all of a sudden they want to be friends with him again, I want to be like, question why they want to be friends with you. Like, these people are fake as hell.
Hey, Priscilla, your Scorpio is showing.
I know. I don't trust anybody.
No, because I'll tell you this, I agree with you, and this is where my Scorpio is showing. I agree with you. And then here's where the Libra shows. But I also think of that whole, the way, like, we should be more like kids. So it's like he was more forgiving and more like
Right,
go with
right.
the flow. So there goes the Libra in me. Dang it.
Meanwhile, like, don't forgive anybody.
What's your motive? What do you want from me?
Hmm.
No, but
That's not just a Scorpio thing. I think that's my New Jersey roots there. I question everybody's kindness.
trust no bitch. No, I get it. was really moved by how proud he was.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really
Peter, when he watched
encouraging.
him.
Mhm.
That was really sweet. And I think that was a learning moment for both of them, because again, we know Peter's way of winning people over was literally just to buy them.
Right.
Um, but he gets to sort of go through this trend with Jack.
Do you think a week is long enough for somebody like Peter to change?
I want to answer your question, but I'm going to say more at the end when I give my rating.
Okay.
But no, it's not. There is a lot of evolution that this movie tried to jam down our throats
Mhm.
for both characters, especially Peter. And a week was not enough time, realistically. And that's where I'm going to end this
Okay. Fair
because I'm
enough.
going to give you more later.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cuz
Do you, I mean, I'm assuming you're asking because you're feeling the same way ish.
kind of, but also like it made me think of that because you brought up the whole, you know, him being proud of Jack and
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of learning a lot, spending so much time with this child, and I thought it was very bold of him to make the comment. Like he drops Jack off at school. I think it's after the LA Kings hockey game,
Mm-hmm.
and he sees Alicia and they're talking, and she like makes a comment about how like he looks exhausted. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't expect it to be like this, and this whole positive role model thing is like harder than it looks." And she even is like, "You're just supposed to keep him alive." So like
Mm-hmm.
he's putting way too much weight. Like that was
Mm-hmm.
very a pretty wild comment for him to make. But then like
Yeah.
he's talking to Jack and Jack asks him like if he has kids or if he wants kids and that he
Mm-hmm.
should have kids because he thinks he's good at it, and he looks all like happy, and I want to be like, you've been doing this for like 4 days and it's a grown kid who is a good kid because his mom did all the work, and you're only doing 4 days of like taking
Mm-hmm.
him to a hockey game.
Yeah. I wonder, I'm going to take a long shot here. I wonder if because of the feelings he had towards her this whole time, he took this opportunity more as a way to dive all the way in and show almost like when a little boy likes a little girl at school and he pulls her hair kind of thing. It's like I don't know, he almost had a moment. I don't know how I feel about it, I just said, but he just what you said made me think that he almost had a moment where he was like, "Oh, I could still have a shot with her if I do this really, really well."
Mm.
And I
Yeah,
think that's
that's
why he
probably
might have
true.
he dove right into. I don't know, just thought about that when you said that. It brought that to me.
Yeah, like he could be a stepdad. Jack likes him, and Jack is like,
Yes.
"Yeah, you're doing, I think you're doing a good job." So he feels really good about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're probably right. Like
But I don't think he needs to go have his own children right now.
no. No. Like you
But
said,
he could
there's
pick
there's a
up.
lot of evolution that still needs to
Yeah.
happen.
Not a lot can happen in a week. Um, I don't remember, Priscilla, why this came up, and it might have been in this whole moment that we're having where we're going back and forth between their lives as they're sort of house sitting for each other. But I made a note of it around you have to tell people how you feel, right? I think in the movie when I was writing this down, there was a moment that captivated me a little bit. It was kind of like you have to tell people how you feel. And I think part of me at the moment really agreed with it. And then part of me is also like when they show the moments that Peter had to tell Debbie how he felt, they didn't feel like the right moments.
Mm-mm. No, because she was married at one point.
Mhm.
Um Actually, the one moment when he's talking to Alicia and like kind of spilling his guts about how he feels about Debbie.
Mhm.
Um so his first mistake was sleeping with her and then immediately saying, "You should stay away from me because I'm a piece of shit." Which honestly, I am surprised that they maintained a friendship after that. Because if a dude was saying that to me after we did something,
Yeah.
I'd be
How
like,
could you be? Yeah.
exactly. I'd be like, no problem.
Yeah.
You'll never hear from me again.
Yeah.
But so that was his first mistake. But again, he wasn't in a place where I guess he was ready or they were ready, to come together for real. And then the second time he said he saw her at the movie theater with her with her ex-husband, but it was like around the time that they first started dating, and he said he didn't say anything because he looked at them and he knew that like there was something there that he didn't want to interrupt. Out of all the moments that he said to Alicia, I think that was probably the best moment. I know that sounds like really messed up because she's seeing somebody, but it's not like she was engaged or anything like that. You know what I mean?
No.
He could
Yeah.
have he could have said something there, but decided not to. I mean, that's a hard thing, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure, to say, but I feel like that was probably his best chance if he's thinking about moments where he could have said something. That was probably his best shot.
I agree. That felt like the best time, I guess. Well, we are now um with Debbie. She is back in New York sitting down with Duncan Theo. I think his name, he worked at Dunkin' Press.
Theo.
Theo.
Yeah.
So she's sitting back with Theo in New York. He had a proposal for her, which a really cool editor job because he didn't want to offer her a job at Dunkin' Press, which I will say I really like Theo. And this moment sort of solidified it for me. There was a lot
The
of
moment at the end or their first date?
no, the moment at the
Okay.
end. It solidified it for me because I kind of, okay, you know how you felt about Minka? I was kind of waiting for him to be a creep. For
I could
Theo to
see
be a
that.
creep.
He had such an intense energy. Like
Yes.
the way he looked at her. Yeah, I could see that. I could see why you would think that.
Like the way the movie was progressing, I thought, okay, the only way this all makes sense if he's, and then obviously that wasn't the case. I think it still worked out the way they did it, but
Mhm.
I felt a lot of respect for him because he wasn't too pushy about it, but he said, I could offer you a job with me where this goes.
Mhm.
So then she gets a call because back home in LA, Jack is practicing for hockey and gets
He gets
hit.
hurt. Mhm.
Yeah. So Peter is now in the hospital with Alicia and Jack and telling her what's happening. She's losing it, typical mom stuff, which I can understand. Um and then decides she's flying, she's going back home right away. And she wants Peter to go home.
See, I didn't like that part. Look, I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a kid, so I can't relate, but I don't know. I feel like okay, he played hockey, like kind of went against her wishes. He's at the hospital for observation. The kid even gets on the phone and he
Mm-hmm.
basically tells her she needs to just stop, that he doesn't
Yeah.
want them to just live this life that they're always afraid to like do something.
Mm-hmm.
Um I don't know. I think for her to like lash out and basically kick him out and say you
Mm-hmm.
should be gone by the time I get there, like that seems like quite an overreaction.
Yeah. The only thing that came up for me there, and maybe this is why I gave her a tiny bit of a pass. I mean, very tiny. Because she hadn't heard from him. She's been talking to Jack, but I think we learned that like she hadn't talked to Peter in a few days. He wasn't answering her calls. So for him to randomly call and say, "Oh, your kid's hurt because by the way, this whole time I've been avoiding you.
True.
I've been letting him do whatever he wants."
Yeah.
That's kind of where that came to me. But was she extreme? Absolutely.
Yeah.
She lost it, leaves Theo, which we never learn what happens to him after that. Um, and she heads back. And then we get to the
They
airport
they
scene.
get from LA to New York and New York to LA very quickly, by the way.
Very quickly and at the same time, which
Yeah.
is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she gets off the flight, they're talking on the phone, and they're like passing each other in the airport and
Mhm.
basically yelling at each other across the way. And she crosses a line and calls him a piece of shit.
I loved his reaction. I think he said something like, "That's mean," or something like
Yeah,
that. It was
he's
so
like,
cute.
"You're so mean," or like something like that.
Yeah, it was so cute. Yeah.
But also that's like I get she was worried about her kid, but I also feel like that's like a self-sabotage thing cuz
Mhm.
like she says it, he's clearly like, "Wow. Okay, that's what you think of me," type of thing. And then she kind of regrets it, tries to get his attention. Her luggage falls on the little walkway thing, and then the poker chip comes out. I think that was her self sabotaging.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm glad the poker chip came out and she did have a moment of clarity and then runs over to ask him, which he's already meeting her halfway. Um, and he or she asked him, why didn't he say anything?
Yeah. And she was like upset about it. Because
And
clearly, I mean, she's probably thinking like how different my life would have been if he had said something.
yeah,
Um, and it was, I don't know.
there was only one thing I liked about that scene, literally the only thing, and it was because it gave me my hopeless romantic moment. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, she asked, "Are you in love with me?" And he said, "No, I am madly, deeply, overwhelmingly in love with you." And that was such an awe moment for my hopeless romantic heart. That was it. That's all I cared about at that in that scene.
See, it's a cute line, but
Mhm.
I don't think he delivered it well. I
I
like
didn't
them
believe him.
exactly. I didn't believe him at all. And even like, I think they say a couple things after and she says like, so what now? We're not going to be
Yeah,
friends anymore or whatever. And he's like, no, Debbie, we're not going to be friends. And then goes to kiss her. It didn't make me happy. It made me uncomfortable. Like he didn't deliver that line cool either. And the kiss looked weird.
yeah. I'm
I'm
telling you, there
just
was nothing
uncomfortable with
else.
everything.
Nothing. I 100% agree with you because there's nothing else in that moment that made me believe in love. Nothing. Literally, and that part was just the words. I love the words. It was such a cute comeback. I would like to revisit that. Future husband, please allow me to set it up for you. But I did not feel love at all in this moment, at all. And then they did the whole 15 minutes later, and I thought, okay, something special is going to happen. Nothing special happened. So don't fast forward me to 15 minutes if nothing special is going to happen.
Well, they both seemed very like I don't know. I'm not entirely I don't think that like I would be mad if somebody just submitted my secret novel. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like they kind of glossed over that. That was kind of like a weird plot line. And then like, they confess their love to each other, they kiss. 15 minutes later, he's just like, "Oh, you're going to be an editor." And she's like, "And you're going to get a novel published." Like, what the? Okay. Like,
yeah.
okay, everybody's okay that that happened and it was really random. But I will say in that scene where they talk about like, what is this? Are we handholders? And like that whole scene actually I did think was cute. It did seem believable in that one scene, the way they played it. But that's literally
That
it.
one
In
scene.
that one scene, you got me thinking
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, these are two people who are like
Yeah.
starting out.
I will say thanks for reminding me about the whole scene of I guess you're gonna be a writer a editor now thing. I forgot the whole reason we met Theo was I forgot about the novel. I forgot about it. That was so irrelevant.
Yeah,
It was such a big part of the middle of the movie.
and she never even tells him,
She did
right?
when they were at the airport. Oh, no.
No,
Sorry.
it's just something that
He
happens in the
learned.
15
No,
minutes
he learned
later.
about it. When they were at the airport on the separate walkways. He said, "Oh, yeah, and thank you for submitting my novel." He found out somehow. I think I'm
Oh
gonna
no,
say it.
Minka. He was on the phone with Minka. He
Oh,
said
okay,
Minka
that's it.
told him.
Because then he found that about. Well, he
What
knew
a
about Theo because of the camera. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what a sloppy script. It's
Yes,
all over the place. Like
yes, that's
even
it.
even the like in the beginning when the one girl that he's with in the beginning asks him like, "Why aren't you guys together?" He doesn't even give like a good answer. He's like, "Because
No,
I'm me and she's her." And I'm like, "Okay, good writing." Uh
no. I have to 100% agree with you because I think that would have been a great moment to hint at his behavior, his womanizer. Yeah.
and and then, you get the son even was like trying to pimp out his mom.
Mhm.
Like he's like, "So what happens now?" I don't know. It was just a weird thing. And it goes back to my whole I find it annoying that two people just can't be friends and that's it. Obviously, in this case, the two characters do have feelings for each other, but like in the real world, just because I'm friends with somebody doesn't mean that it's a good idea that we
Yeah.
get together.
Yeah.
Like, just leave it be. Why can't it just be what it is? Like,
You know why I think this bothers you so much too? This movie wanted to do the whole wrong time, right person, or right person, wrong time thing,
mhm.
but they did not deliver because they're trying to tell you, well, people evolve and they grow and they change. So they're trying to walk you through this whole 20-year friendship, but that's not what we got from the movie. So it's almost annoying because they could have just been friends.
Yeah.
They should have just stayed friends the way the movie laid it out.
Yeah. And then I have to say, so when the movie ends,
Ugh.
it's like 6 months later
Mm-mm.
and a successful book and blah blah blah. I wrote down Jen got her closure
I'll tell you what, I was thinking the exact same thing, but it bothered me. Something didn't.
because you don't like them together. You do the characters
You're
are
so right. This is the exact note I wrote 6 months later. Meh, some closure, I guess. Literally.
that's the only thing I thought when they had the 6 months later. They're talking about the successful book. She's an editor for an indie publishing place. He moved
Jack is
to
in
he
hockey.
moved to LA. Jack is
Oh,
in hockey. Um, I guess they're married because then there's like a comment that was like, "Psych, marriage is hard,
hmm?
but blah 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 blah. Like it's worth it or something or I don't know some kind of crap
Mm-hmm.
at the end." And the only thing that I thought was, well, Jen got her closure. She always wants to see like what's happening in 6 months after these characters
Mm-hmm.
get together. And so that was about it. But even I didn't really like the ending. I did not, I did not like the movie in general. Like that's it.
Mm-mm.
Point blank.
Okay, then let's segue into it, right into it, because I think we both know how we feel about this. Priscilla, walk me through your rating. What do you think about this?
On a scale of 1 to 5 poker chips, I was initially going to give it 2 poker chips
Uh
to
huh.
be generous. And us talking about this right now
Mm-hmm.
makes me amend it to 1 poker chip. Because
Yeah.
no. Like the character, like the only redeeming factor of the movie is Minka and Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like I don't even like the main characters. And I like Reese Witherspoon as an actress. She's great in a lot of things, but this movie was not it. Not like I don't believe it. The script was shit.
I'm right with you. Yeah.
But I didn't you were hoping that it was going to kind of I guess revive rom-coms or like bring in like a
Redeem.
new. Yeah, I had no kind of expectation at all. I just hoped that it would be watchable because I like her, and I haven't seen him in something in a long time. Actually, no, I just saw him in that Vengeance
Oh,
movie,
yes.
and he was good in that.
He was great in that movie. Yeah.
So I I think I was just expecting it to be better than it was because of who was in it, or at least expected it to be funnier than it was, and it did not deliver on any of those fronts. What
No.
about you? What's your rating?
Funny enough, we are very synced. I give it 1 poker chip. And I like to give you 2 reasons why. Number 1, again, the movie was fine, but it felt a little long. Halfway
Yeah,
through the
yeah, it felt like it
movie,
dragged.
yeah, I literally looked halfway through, and when I saw it had 58 minutes left, I thought, and I had already been watching for 50 something, I thought, this is not it. That means I have another hour of what I need to be wrapped up within the next minute. So I thought it was a little long, which leads me then to the second point. Because it felt so long, I was very disappointed. I think we were supposed to see their evolution of them kind of growing into the right timing for them to be together. And I don't know, I couldn't feel it. Again, there was no chemistry. It felt like we were watching 2 different movies almost at the same time. So I think because it was so long, they tried to really pack this in so they can paint us a picture, and I could not follow it. I was not too
Um,
long. Too
yeah, it
long.
was too long. The story was not good. I got the feeling that it wasn't until she found his secret envelope of all the mementos that she even considered if she felt anything for him. You know what I mean? Like him, at least you could believe that he's like carried a torch for her all these years and didn't really make a commitment to anybody because she was like the one that got away and he was stupid and kind of never took a chance and whatever. But her, I mean, aside from the one comment that she made in the beginning when she's like, here's a poker chip that I kept thinking that we were going to get married or whatever, there was no kind of there was nothing that indicated that she had any kind of feeling toward him current day. You know what I mean? Like I don't it felt very forced.
I have to agree with you because I definitely felt that in that scene. I also, this might not be a big deal because I know that there's things we don't tell everybody, right? Even your bestest of friends, there may be things, you just don't share. But I felt that part of me believing that she had been feeling this way about him would have been because she maybe knew that he wrote a book, a novel. And then therefore she was like subconsciously thinking about him in the
Mhm.
way that connected them.
Mhm.
Am I making any sense? Like, it just feels like there was nothing that connected them, and the things that would have connected them, they weren't telling each other about.
Yeah.
So I did not buy that she was in
It's
love with him. What?
I'm sorry. I feel like I keep muting my microphone and when I keep putting it on, like is it Karen that's like coughing in the back? Can you hear her?
I think I can hear her, but I'll be honest with you, I'm totally blocking her out
Okay.
in the sense of like, I get her. I feel her. I feel that way about the movie.
I just like it would be quiet when I would mute my microphone and I let you talk, and then when I unmute it to like agree with you or whatever, I hear her go like how does this chick know that I unmuted my microphone?
She is aware because she knows how she feels about this movie, and she needed to make sure
Yeah,
that she gave her 2 cents.
I mean, she was sitting right next to me
when you were
when I
watching
was
it?
watching it, and she was not interested. She was asleep. She was waiting for us to go to bed.
Yeah,
And
that's a
I was
sign.
really trying my best, because I did the same thing. I would like pause it to see how much longer. And I was like, holy crap, like this is a long movie. It's going nowhere.
Why was this movie so long? Miss Karen definitely didn't like it. That should have been our sign number 1. Thank you, Miss Karen.
Yep.
We want to have you on the podcast more often.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy to know that we were aligned on this movie.
Yeah.
Just, I wasn't feeling it.
And I wanted to like it a lot. I thought it was such a great Gen X love story, you know? But I'll say this last thing, and I don't know if we'll use it or whatever, but in the conversation, I kind of liked what we were just talking about Karen as a good ending point. But we'll see what else we can use. But I think to elaborate a little bit more, why I was expecting this movie to be like a redeeming movie, it's because I've been finding a lot more enjoyable the rom-coms with like the newer actors, or like the actors that you've not really heard of, versus the ones that I've seen now with people that have done rom-coms in the past could come together and do something beautiful. And I have been disappointed.
Honestly, the script is a big thing. Like, if the writing sucks, if the story's not good, you could get the best people ever, but it's just not gonna work every time. And also, if there's no chemistry, I didn't feel any kind of chemistry between Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon. I felt, again, I know that this is not Sleepless in Seattle at all, but Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan were not in the movie together the majority of the entire film, and there was more there.
They didn't know each other, Priscilla.
I know, but that's what I mean. Like, the characters didn't know each other. They don't. The entirety of the film, they're in the same vicinity as each other for maybe 10 minutes total in the entire movie. There was more there than these two characters that they're not together in most of the movie either, but they're supposed to be these great friends that, they meet after having one night of passion, and then it turns into this amazing friendship that apparently they don't tell each other anything.
Yep.
It's just weird. It's weird.
Yeah. I'm 110% with you. When you compare this, again, and we don't want to do when you compare it, I'm 100%. Sleepless in Seattle is a beauty.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beauty for me regardless, but like, I know how you.
But I will tell you this. Right now, right next to this movie, oh my gosh, I'm going to give Sleepless in Seattle 5 emojis. 5 out of 5 compared to this.
Do you hear this bitch?
Oh, she's
like dancing. She's dancing around. No, she's like, you guys.
She's dancing. Okay.
Well, no, I mean, like, you hear her feet, like, she's pacing back and forth. She just went to the bedroom. She's like, I've had enough. We're sitting in the dark.
She's like, Mom, stop it. This movie sucks, okay? There's nothing you could say that will change how I feel about this movie. And then she stormed into her room.
Yeah, she's like, I don't understand why you guys are talking about it for this long. Like, thank you for joining us today. If you'd like to send any movie recommendations our way, or just, a little love note, you can drop us a line at podcastmeetcute@gmail.com. Or find us on Instagram and TikTok at the Meet Cute Pod. Enjoyed the show? Subscribe today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And finally, a big shout out to Spreaker from iHeart for being such a great podcasting platform. Until next time.